Hello, my loves, and welcome back to another episode of Embracing Power and Potential. I hope that you have all had a fabulous week. I'm feeling in a little giddy mood today. Don't mind. Okay, it's time to lock in. So, a little weekly update from me. I've actually had two guests on the podcast this week. One of them, I think, was just released, and another guest episode will be released in a couple of weeks, so look out for them. Very exciting. I've got my free manifestation workbook, so you can actually find that in the show notes below, or they're in the link in my bio on my Instagram page at Portia Utting. And if you're not already, guys, go and follow me. I post heaps of content on there and just trying to grow my community from the podcast, Instagram, all of it, and just sort of building a whole good time. So I love you guys already. Honestly, support has been so good, and I think just moving environments and really being able to dive into my online business and into my coaching and into my content again has genuinely made a world of difference. And like I always say, consistency is key with anything. So it goes for my own life. But yeah, that's my little update. If you are also interested in coaching, I am opening free 30-minute connection calls for my one-to-one sessions. I've got the link to actually book straight from my calendar below in the show notes as well. Or you can DM me on Instagram and we can definitely just have a chat and see if it's something that might work for you. It's my little update, doing all the things. It's all happening. So let's get into the episode for today. Welcome, listeners, to Embracing Power and Potential, your go-to podcast where we travel through the realms of personal growth, mindset mastery, and fear-conquering strategies to help achieve your greatest desires. I'm your host, Portia, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this transformative experience. If you're ready to unleash your authentic power and elevate your life, you're in the right place. Join me and our special guests as we embark on conversations that will broaden your horizons and enrich your journey. So, sit back and immerse yourself in these unmatched discussions. It's time to expand your mind and your life. What if happiness isn't found at the finish line? What if the thing that you've been chasing isn't actually the goal? It's the feeling that you think the goal will give you. That's what you're chasing. So there's a philosophy that Tony Robbins says, and it's progress equals happiness. And the more that I've reflected on this recently, the more that I believe it is genuinely one of the biggest mindset shifts that we can make in our lives. So that's what I want to unpack in this episode today. The idea of progress equaling happiness from my own experiences, and something that I guess you'll probably relate to, because I think so many of us are accidentally delaying our happiness by waiting for a destination, waiting to arrive at a certain goal, instead of just recognizing the progress that we're actually making every day. And I know this is a reminder to myself as well. And before we get into it, if you don't know who Tony Robbins is, definitely go and check him out. He is like a very big influential speaker and author. He's a life coach. And his philosophy around the progress equals happiness, he suggests that the true lasting joy comes from consistent growth, forward momentum, rather than just achieving static goals. So that's pretty much what I'm going to dive into from my own experience in this episode. So I've got 7 points that I want to cover today. And number 1 is we were built to grow. So think about the times in your life when you felt the most alive. Was it because everything was perfect? I'd probably guess not. It was probably because you were working towards something that mattered, whether it was a new relationship, when you're in that honeymoon phase and you're just starting to get to know someone and like you feel you're euphoric, or starting a new business and you're diving in and you're working all hours of the night and you can't stop thinking about it, or learning a new skill, whether it's studying, whether you've started psychology, if you're training for an event, whether you're training for a marathon or working towards or building a life that feels aligned. I know that I can put myself in that category at the moment because as humans, we crave growth. So when we're moving forward, even if it's slowly, that's how we feel we're living in purpose. So when we stay stagnant for too long, when there's no movement, when we're just a bit meh, not really making any progress, that's often when we actually start to feel those feelings of unfulfillment and just feeling a little bit bland in life. So maybe happiness isn't about having everything. Maybe it's just about knowing you're becoming someone in a process of working towards something, changing something about yourself. When you are on your journey and you can actually feel yourself evolving, that's what I believe equals feelings of happiness, feelings of joy, feelings of feeling proud of ourselves. So, point number 2 is the arrival fallacy. So many of us live by the sentence, I'll be happy when. And don't lie, I know that you've said that before. Sometime, either it's when I lose the weight, I'll be happy when I make more money, or when my business takes off. I'll be happy when I find the right relationship, when I find the one, when I move countries, or I probably have said that before in my time. Oh, I'll be happy when I move countries. Or when you buy the house. But have you noticed something? Every time that you reach one goal, another one appears because the goalposts just keep moving. So if your happiness always lives in the future, you'll never actually experience it in the present. So the destination was never actually meant to make you happy forever. I mean, of course, you get that hit of dopamine when you achieve a goal and you can feel accomplished and proud of yourself. But you achieve the goal and then you feel excited for a little bit and then your brain starts looking for the next thing. It's just how we are conditioned as humans. So growth along the way is the goal. And my uncle says something. You've probably heard this before, but he says to enjoy the journey. So it's a little, I guess, thing that we have in our family. Anytime we see it or anytime someone's going through something, that's what we just like, it's our little message, is just enjoy the journey. So, Mum, if you're listening, probably crying. But yeah, so I think that's just my reminder that I want to, if I leave anything today, it's to enjoy the journey. So my point number 3 is to celebrate your actions, not your outcomes. So this has completely changed the way that I think about success, because if you see, most people only celebrate themselves once they've achieved something. But what if you started celebrating the behaviors instead? Instead of the big outcome, you went to the gym and you celebrate that. You finally posted the reel that you've been overthinking, or something on your story about your small business. Celebrate that. If you've had a hard conversation, something that was uncomfortable, celebrate it. If you did something even small to keep a promise to yourself, maybe you said that you were just going to get up, get into your activewear, and walk to the letterbox and back. Celebrate it. Because even something as simple as having your favorite coffee after, or having just a small piece, like one square, don't go crazy and have a bar or a block, but after every workout, a little piece of chocolate, or ticking off your habit tracker, or just taking a moment to genuinely tell yourself, I'm proud of you. Like, actually say that to yourself out loud after you've done something that was hard, something that was unfamiliar to what you usually do. Your brain starts associating that behavior with something positive. So then it will actually make your brain make you want to keep doing that thing again. And then your brain actually likes to do hard things because you've rewarded yourself for them. So they think, oh, we get rewarded for that. Let's do that again. And then all of a sudden, that new habit becomes your identity. But of course, it doesn't happen that easily at the start. It's a practice, and you have to take the actions consciously with intention. So instead of chasing motivation, you're building a positive feedback loop that makes showing up tomorrow easier. So don't just reward the results, reward the consistency, because that's actually the most important part. Without the consistency, you'll never reach the goal. So that leads me into my point number 4. Start asking yourself better questions. One question can completely change all of your decisions. So instead of asking, what do I feel like doing today to make myself a better version of me? Ask, what would a healthy person do today? A healthy person doesn't eat well because they're trying to become healthy. They eat well because it's simply what they do. A healthy person goes for walks. They prioritize sleep. They drink water. They get back on track after having a bad day instead of giving up and going, oh, no, I fucked up. No. They get up the next day and they make better decisions because it's just who they are. You know, we're human. We're allowed to have an off day. We just don't make that our new habit. So it's no longer about forcing yourself. It's just about acting in alignment with the identity that you've chosen to become. So another question, probably my favorite one to ask myself, is what would the future version of me do? This is definitely a question that I say to myself quite often. So if you don't, write it in your notes right now. Put a timer on. What do I do? Put a timer on your phone for an alarm, say every few hours of the day, and write that question as the label. What would the future version of me do? Do it right now. Pause this video, pause this podcast, or just do it while you're listening, and make an alarm right now for 7 a.m. or for the first alarm that goes off in the morning, and then keep that going for a few times. Because whenever you're faced with a decision, ask yourself, what would the future version of me choose? This is something I say to myself pretty much every morning when my alarm goes off and I cannot be stuffed to get out of bed. I say to myself, my goals are bigger than my feelings. And then I just get up. Because if I say my goals are bigger than my feelings and then I keep laying down, it's like, but are they really then? So if I say that, I'm like, fuck, I've got to get up. I've got to do it. I literally did that this morning. So I woke up every freaking hour last night from probably 1 a.m. onwards. Every hour I kept waking up. Oh, just the most broken sleep. But here I am at 7:30 in the morning recording this podcast when I could not be bothered getting out of bed, and I could have stayed in bed for an extra half an hour. But this is how the future version of me shows up. So here I am, and I'm doing it. So you have to ask yourself, what would the future version of me choose? The version of you who already has the business, has the confidence, who in the healthy relationship, who has financial freedom. How would they respond? How would they spend this hour? What would they prioritize? When you stop making decisions from your current circumstances and start making futures from your future identity, over time, that's how you become them. And that's how you actually collapse time and change your life so much faster. So passionate about that. I genuinely believe that if you embody that person now, your life will unfold in fucking magical ways. And then point number 6 is learn to love the feeling after. So here's something that I've realized. A very few people actually feel like doing the thing. I mean, there is the people that fucking love to just get up and go to the gym and froth that. And I mean, I do love to go to the gym, but I don't necessarily like I said, getting up in the morning. But very few people are excited to wake up and work out or record the content or have the difficult conversations. But almost everyone loves how they feel after. They feel proud of themselves, feel capable. They feel more confident because they've given themselves evidence that they can do hard things, like they've kept promises to themselves. That's so important. So stop asking, do I feel like it? And instead ask, how will I feel once I've done it? Because that feeling of keeping those promises to yourself, keeping your word to yourself, building that self-trust, that's the feeling. That's the feeling that you're really chasing. The feeling of, I actually did it. I'm proud of myself. I kept the promises that I made to myself. And that's probably the best part because it trains your brain and your nervous system that you show up for you, that you build that self-trust, and then you will actually be able to do harder things a lot easier. And then my last point is to look back before you look forward. This is something that I only yesterday actually realized I don't do enough myself, because we're so focused on what's next that we rarely actually stop to appreciate how far that we've already come. I was chatting yesterday, so I went out for lunch with a bunch of incredible ladies, and we're just chatting about my journey and how I got to New Zealand. And I've already been here a month, by the way. Is that crazy? And they're like, have you shared this? Even just from going back from studying the Jay Shetty certification program to become a life coach. And I was just talking about my journey. And then they're like, that's incredible. And I didn't realize, first of all, that I've been here for a month and how much I've actually done within this month from taking the leap. I left with no job, nowhere to live, found a job, found a perfect place to live within 24 hours on my way here. But I believe that that's because I genuinely trust that everything does unfold and work out for me. And then just all the progress that I've made within the business, having guests on the podcast, making shit work while being in another country and just figuring it all out and just doing it. Meeting up with a bunch of girls that I had never met before yesterday. I've done so much in this past month that a person that I was a year ago would be so freaking proud of. So I want you to think about a version of you from a year ago. Would they be proud? What have you learned? What fears have you faced? What have you survived that once felt impossible? Because progress becomes invisible when you never actually pause to acknowledge how far you've come. So you need to take time to celebrate your growth. And I myself will be doing this. I'm actually going to take myself out for a little dinner date tonight, I think, and treat myself and just cheers myself for how far I've come. So I want you to do the same. Choose one thing that you're going to do for you, and it doesn't have to be taking yourself out on a solo dinner. But if you do, please let me know in the comments if you're listening on Spotify, or DM me. I'd love to know that your journeys. I'd love to reach out and connect with you guys, because I see the numbers, but I don't actually know who you are. So I'd love to, hear your experiences from what you take from these episodes. To celebrate your growth. Choose one thing and do that for yourself today, whether it's buying your favorite coffee or favorite Starbucks. Try and make it something healthy, but if you want to have a glass of wine or go out with your girlfriends for a cocktail to just celebrate your wins, I'm so for that. If you're listening to this podcast and thinking, I know what I need to do, I just can't seem to follow through, well, you're exactly who I created my coaching for. Because the truth is, most people don't need more information. They need support applying it. My coaching is designed to help you break through limiting beliefs, build genuine self-trust, and become the version of yourself who actually follows through on what they say they're gonna do. Together, we'll identify what's keeping you stuck, create a personalized action plan, and work on the mindset shifts that create lasting change, not just temporary motivation. If you're ready to stop waiting for your life to change and start becoming the person who creates it, I'd love to work with you. You can find the link below in the show notes to book a 30-minute connection call, and I'd love to chat with you about whether coaching is the right fit. Now, let's get back to the episode. So maybe happiness isn't waiting for you after the promotion, after the relationship, or the business milestone, or the number in your bank account. Maybe happiness has been available for you all along, in every workout that you showed up for, in every uncomfortable conversation that you had, every time that you chose courage over comfort, every tiny decision that you moved you one step closer to the person that you're becoming. So this week, don't just chase the outcome. Celebrate your progress. Reward your actions. Ask yourself what your future self would do. Because the life that you're dreaming of isn't built in one big moment. It is built in the small decisions that you repeat every single day. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you loved this episode, share it to a friend, upload it to your Instagram stories, and let me know in the comments or just reach out to me if you have done something to celebrate your small wins this week. That would be so cool to see what you guys do from this. So I will see you in the next week. Love you guys so much. And as always, remember who you are and become who you're capable of being. Mwah.